Officials linked to the substandard fuel scandal were arrested, investigated, and subsequently resigned. Developments continue to cast a shadow over Kenya's fuel quality oversight system. Now, in a move aimed at stabilizing supply and safeguarding the welfare of Kenyan consumers, the government has announced a temporary revision of fuel quality standards. And as Munene John now reports, the decision comes amid global disruptions in oil shipping routes, which have tightened supply chains and raised concerns over potential shortages.
It began as a crackdown. A month ago, the fuel sector was shaken as senior officials were arrested, investigated, and eventually resigned in the wake of allegations tied to substandard fuel imports. What followed was a wave of public concern over how deep the cracks in oversight had become. But today, the story takes a different turn, not away from accountability, but into a new battle: keeping fuel flowing. The government has now triggered a temporary adjustment to fuel quality standards. At the center of the decision is a balancing act between strict environmental and quality standards and a strained global supply chain that is tightening by the day. For the next 6 months, Kenya will operate under revised specifications. The sulfur limit has been set at 50 milligrams per kilogram in both diesel and petrol, temporarily reverting to less restrictive standards. The government says the decision is driven by the need to avoid possible fuel shortages and maintain steady supply into the country at a time when international oil shipping routes remain unstable. For Kenya, the impact is direct. Importers have been grappling with inconsistent availability of compliant fuel cargoes, forcing a rethink of how strict standards are applied in the short term to keep the system running. The development comes against the backdrop of recent turbulence in the sector. Just about a month ago, senior officials linked to the fuel supply chain were arrested, investigated, and later resigned following allegations tied to the circulation of substandard fuel, with investigations still ongoing. CS Lee Kinyanjui has confirmed that the enforcement of the revised fuel quality standards officially began on April 30th, 2026. The government says the move is strictly temporary, set to remain in force for a period of 6 months. Authorities further state that monthly technical assessments will be conducted to monitor global supply conditions, with Kenya expected to revert to its original higher fuel quality standards once stability is restored in the international market. Munene John for TV 47.